Carol Speechley doing a Welcome to Country, so I'd like to encourage them up into the swings. Thanks very much. If you could have a round of applause, that'd be great.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Alan Carriage. I'm one of the leaders of the Wadi people, the same as my cousin Carol. We're going through a terrible lot of sadness still here as Indigenous people in this land. Not proper communication from our councils, who are the proper elders of the land, who are more concerned about long-term issues than short-term issues. There's a terrible lot more I could say about some of this stuff, but I do not say it with hate. I say it from my heart. I feel sorry for our councils because they can't seem to get it right in the first place to set things right for the future generations coming through. Money seems to be more important than culture and environmental awareness and stuff like this. Anyway, I'll give it across. I want my cousin to read a bit of a statement I wrote out, and I'll give it a welcome after she finishes. You don't mind, please? Good one.
Oh, you right?
Yeah.
Okay then. My name is Carol Speechley, and I am Uncle Elo's cousin. I call him Uncle out of respect for him as an elder, as my elder. And as Uncle Elo has said, he has asked me to read this for him tonight. So, my name is Alan Carriage, and I'm a...
Yeah.
They're for long distance, not short distance. Are you sure you want to hold it? You're right. My name is Alan Carriage, and I'm a Wadi man of our country, the Illawarra and Wollongong area. We have our boundaries. My cousin here, Carol Speechley, is one of the leaders of this land too. We are trying to work together for men's business and women's business culture as well. As an Aboriginal man of this country, we have a very sad past. My grandmother told my mother and my aunties Nell and Joan that their grandmother told her about the sadness that colonisation brought to our country. They were very upset about the future of our culture and our Aboriginality in this country back then. We are still very concerned about our culture now. My mother taught me that this country has a culture and a past which gives this beautiful country a future. But some of our main government leaders of Australia who are not Aboriginal must learn about and acknowledge this country's past to make this beautiful country have a future. Once upon a time, my elders told me of times that went by when they used to shoot my people. Now it is worse how they go about assimilating my culture and my people in this country. They do it through their legal system. The long-term hurt is worse. I feel sorry for our government because they really don't know about this beautiful country they live in. They think money can fix everything, but what they are destroying, money cannot buy for all our future generations of children 200 years down the track, their own grandchildren too. We are a race of people, but we are not a violent race. We do work with a lot of good non-Aboriginal people who have a beautiful heart, and they are concerned like we are for a future for our children and their children. They are helping us save our Aboriginality and environment and want us to be able to look after our culture in this land. Therefore, I wish the rest of the non-Aboriginal Australian people would wake up to this and come in behind us and bring a bit of truth into this country and give it a future. I do feel for my brothers and sisters in Tibet. I've heard that you are going through the same as my people and have been through, some of my people have been through in this country, and you are fighting peacefully like us to keep your culture too. It's about time that our countries realise that the issues we're fighting for are grassroots issues and common sense for our future generations in hundreds of years to come. I think that our government should understand these issues we talk about are the main issues of the whole planet. It is undoubtedly being destroyed for our future generations to come. My uncle and I, from the deepest part of our hearts, welcome you to this country with love. We hope you have a very successful Festival of Tibet and everyone goes away with a deeper understanding of what we are all trying to save, our culture, our heritage and future generations. And I think true peace can come with understanding. Thank you.
Thanks very much for listening. My people, my mother, my aunties, and my mother's mother, we were fighting back from the 17th, which we have paper to recognise where we come from and what we're trying to achieve. And it's a shame that our government and our councils do not understand, or I don't know, maybe, like I said, I'm not saying it with hate, I'm saying it from my heart, a little bit more understanding for a human race of people who does love other people and this country very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Alan. I think it was it's quite important that we can relate what's happening in a place such as Tibet with what's happening in our own backyard, and I think there's a lot of analogies there. So I just thank you again for those great words. I'd just like to briefly introduce Tenzin from the Tibet Information Office in Canberra. He's here as the representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Australia, and he'd just like to say a few quick words. Thank you, Tenzin.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. So I'm the representative of the representative of... Yes, so today our Prime Minister, exiled Prime Minister, is in Canberra, so my boss couldn't come here. My apologies from our office to you all for that. Senator Brown, Lord Mayor, and Mr. Kamala, Michael, and our elders here, and everybody who are present here. I'm here in my Buddhist monk's robes, and I am a monk, and I clearly represent my country, Tibet. And when people of this world think of Tibet, they immediately think of Tibet as a peaceful, peace-loving country, which is occupied by a foreign power, but we are looking for a resolution of solution for this problem, and that is through non-violence and peaceful means. So here we are gathered here as of this about two weeks period of Tibetfest, so which is going to take place, organized by Collective Dharma of Wollongong, and throughout these 3 weeks you would see the depth and the essence of Tibetan culture and religion. So how much Tibetan religion and culture could contribute to this, the peace and spiritual growth or stability of population of the whole world. So this ancient civilization, ancient tradition, ancient culture is at the verge of complete destruction and elimination from the face of this world. So how concerned Western world usually is when we are facing an extinction of one plant or one species of animal. Now this is the extinction. We are facing the extinction of a whole human race, which is a peace-beloved and non-violent, compassionate people. So this non-violent, it is against now peace and violence and force of money is fighting here. So those who are here, like people like Senator Brown, has been the supporter of the truth since the beginning of the Tibetan issue. And Senator Brown has been involved in the Tibetan cause for the past many decades. So people like all of you who support Tibet and who would be supporting Tibet after this art exhibition and all this festival are dearly needed for our cause at this critical juncture of Tibetan history. So I would usually say to my friends that Senator Brown has been the voice of the voiceless people, so he has been the voice of our cause as well. I thank from my deep heart on behalf of Tibetan people to him, and Michael as well for organizing this. And through these paintings and arts, you would clearly see the Tibetan people's deep culture, Buddhist culture and tradition, and on top of that, the grievances of the Tibetan people, the occupation that has taken toll on our people and our land. So thank you for all those who are involved with organizing this Tibetfest. So we Tibetans in our Buddhist, as a monk, may I say a few words, because in Tibetan Buddhism we have the concept of interdependency. So the interdependency of all of you, all those who have been involved in making this Tibetfest come true, I thank you from my core of my heart to you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Tenzin. For anyone who doesn't know about Tibet, there's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot that you can really, I'd encourage people to go out and just read a bit about what's happening in Tibet. It's obviously a beautiful country. A lot more Australians are visiting there, but a lot of Australians also follow His Holiness the Dalai Lama and have an interest anyway. Moving along, I'd just like to welcome the Lord Mayor Alex Darling, and just before that say that this wonderful space project we're in is supported by council. It's a great venue. It's obviously a great venue for the work of Karma Funsok, and I think we really have to thank Wollongong City Council for all the work they've done in getting this space together. Obviously the project gallery people and the team have been involved in that as well, but we've got to thank Wollongong City Council for all that work in making such a great space possible. So I'd just like to introduce Lord Mayor Alex Darling.
Well, thank you very much. They're pretty hard acts to follow, aren't they? I've heard Alan Carriage before with Welcome to Country. I've never heard it quite as sincere and as good today. And unfortunately, Alan, you're speaking to the wrong people. You should be speaking to the politicians on the 3 tiers of government, because they're the one that hold the key. It's not the you and the me that are here. We understand the plight of our Aboriginal and Indigenous people and the rotten deal they've had over generations and generations and generations. And that ought to be the #1 priority on the 3 tiers of government. Do you agree with that? Yeah. #1 priority. We're very fortunate to have Senator Brown representing us in the Senate, and his 10 years experience in the Senate. You're a very popular figure in Wollongong, let me tell you that, Senator Brown, a very popular figure in Wollongong. And it's the second occasion I've had the pleasure of meeting you, and I said to you the first time I've been a fan of yours for some time. I didn't realise that you were on Tasmanian government for 10 years, so you've got your 20-year medal up. 20 years, good heavens. Anyway, welcome to Wollongong, welcome to Wollongong. I just wanted to touch a little for our visitors on Wollongong, just to give you a brief overview. This is why this display is accepted in Wollongong, because we're a multicultural city, where we proudly boast of 116 nationalities living in relevant peace and harmony together. And when we had the pleasure of Michael Organ representing us on Cunningham, his dear mother said he was quite a cheater. He didn't say much. Well, he did say a lot actually. He made his presence felt, and we hope that, Michael, that your political career is only on the back burner, and we hope you reappear one day in the near future. So that's the challenge out for you, Michael Organ. Get yourself back up there. Okay, well, on Senator Brown's welcome to Wollongong, I sincerely welcome you to the city of Wollongong. You're extremely welcome in Wollongong. As I did say, you're a very popular figure on the whole of the South Coast, and your work doesn't go unnoticed in the Senate, and it has been an inspiration to a lot of other people to just watch your career and the work that you do, sometimes alone, but you work through it and you work on, and you're a committed person, and God bless you. You've done a marvellous job, marvellous job. Wollongong City Council has played a role in this gallery with a reduction in the rent, of course. I mean, if I had my way, there'd be no rent charged here, and I say that sincerely. And I think that Wollongong Council ought to revisit that and put it back into the community, because they have some wonderful displays here, and I've been to many of them. It's a wonderful display, and they're good people that support this and work very hard. So thank you very much, Michael. Thank you for the kind invitation to be here tonight. It's a pleasure, and it's a pleasure to welcome Senator Brown to Wollongong on behalf of all the people that gathered here tonight. 50% have come to see you, 50% have come to see the art exhibition. I'm not quite sure that's right, but anyway, it sounded pretty good, didn't it? But a lot of people are here to see you, Senator Brown, I can tell you that, and shake you by the hand and wish you well in your political career. Thank you very much.
With those words, I'll pass over to Bob.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for such a warm welcome. It's lovely to be back in Wollongong and under that beautiful escarpment, and drove through the thunderstorm this afternoon. And out of the fridge into the fire. It's a wonderful experience to come from Hobart to here all in one day through the marvels of modern technology. And to acknowledge our first Australian representatives from the Wadi Wadi people and Tibetan representative and everybody, because I guess having looked at these marvellous works by Karma Phuntsok, one looks for the deeper meaning in this brilliant, colourful, earth-related and human-related assemblage of pictures, and the closer you look, the more you see. One of the things that has distinguished His Holiness the Dalai Lama in a century of horror for the Tibetan people, and you'll see over there on that representation of the monetary note behind Mount Zedong, the figure of 1.2 million deaths occasioned during and since the violent overtake of the nation of Tibet in 1959. And you know, I remember that because I was 14 and I waited for Australia and America and the United Nations, the bastions of the free, we who talk of freedom, liberty and democracy, to do something, and they did nothing. And since then, they've done nothing. But Tibet has, through its Buddhist culture and its beauty and its peace laureate, Nobel laureate, the Dalai Lama, has given to the world in a way that is almost lost from meaning now, the word compassion, in a planet that so badly needs it. And Karma Phuntsok has a very, very deep knowledge from his upbringing in Tibet. As a boy, leading with the 80,000 others who fled Tibet in 1959 over the Himalayas, fleeing the oncoming Red Army, and then as an exile in India and elsewhere, and then coming here to our beautiful, lucky, wonderful nation to live in the bush in northern New South Wales, and to express all of that on a planet where we are one people, where we are one environment, where we are one species amongst millions, dependent on this tiny little speck in the universe which gives us life and inspiration and beauty and hope and adventure and excitement. And all those things, not least the beauty, but also the horror, are in this spectacular display here in Wollongong in this Tibetfest tonight. If you look at that triptych, the big work at the back, and there is compassion, and there is wisdom, because as Karma said to me, if you're going to have compassion, you need to have that augmented with wisdom. And then what are they without, on the right-hand side, power? At the moment, this world has people running it who have the power but not the compassion or the wisdom. And what we human beings have to do is get the compassion and the wisdom organising the power, not the other way around. And then we'll be going somewhere. And over in the centre here is a little view of the Patala. Do you know that in the main, there was additions in the 14th century, was built in 700 AD, before the great cathedrals of Europe. And there it is now, a musty museum, in some ways despised by the occupying Chinese army. By the way, I'll I'm not going to take very long here, but President Hu came to our great citadel of democracy, freedom and compassion, the Parliament in Canberra, 3 years ago. And the day after I got up in democratic fashion and had a word or two to say to President Bush, which is simply about you abide by the laws of the world and the world will respect you, President Hu was due to speak. And you know, he came and saw the Speaker and the President of the House and said, if Senator Brown and Nettle, who were put out for speaking to a visiting head of state today, are there tomorrow, I will not speak. What's more, the security forces of this dictatorship from Beijing came in the following day with guns in their pockets. Our own guards don't have guns. And we backed off and allowed the visiting dictator who rules over Tibet now and who directly ruled there for some time in the 80s, to have parliamentarians weeded out from that percentage and guns brought into our parliament, and everybody applauded on that day. And isn't it time that we not only had the compassion and the wisdom, but the power to eyeball people like that and tell them what we think in dinkum Australian language, instead of that obsequious scene that occurred in the Parliament on that day. Well, back. Yes, you did. And Michael, what's more, had the flag of Tibet on his lapel when he eyeballed him. An exception in the Parliament on that day, and that's one of the reasons I'm very proud to have shared that space with you, and look forward to a lot more sharing with you in the future, Michael. Just finally, if you look at that great triptych, or these, mate, look at the green tar over there. Read about it. And behind that, the indigenous inspiration. Yes. And the months of work that comes out of an artist who has time, who has skill and who has these attributes, but has taken an Australian component and put it into these great artworks, which should be hanging in all the great art houses of Australia. This is a brilliant display here tonight. Kamafutsok, you are not just a wonderful artist, but you have that compassion which is at the centre of that triptych, which comes into this art and understands through suffering we must never, as the Dalai Lama has in his foyer, in India, in Dharamsala, we must never, never, never give up on the optimism which is going to take us as human beings into a peaceful future instead of into the brick wall that we're currently headed at. It's uplifting, it's beautiful. I'm envious of Wollongong, and I hope this place attracts the numbers of people that it deserves. By the way, over on this table, a great array of cards and pictures.